Hi book lovers, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I wanted to do something a little bit different, but also still fun. So I am going to be ranking every single winner of the Goodreads Choice Awards for the romance category because it's the only category where I've actually read the books. If you don't know what the Goodreads Choice Awards is, it's this yearly competition that started back in 2011. It's this yearly book award competition where voters can vote for their favorite book of that year. They separate genres by category, so I am gonna just stick with the romance category. But let me tell you guys the winners of the Goodreads Choice Awards since 2011. So 2011, we have Lover Unleashed by J.R. Ward. We have Black Dagger Brotherhood. We have A Paranormal Romance, which is so early 2010s. The 2012 winner was 50 Shades Freed by E.L. James. 2013, J.R. Ward again with Lover at Last. 2014 was Written in My Own Heart's Blood by Diana Gabaldon, so Outlander. 2015, Confessed by Colleen Hoover, the very first year that Coho won. 2016, It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. 2017, Without Merit by Colleen Hoover. 2018, The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang. 2019, Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. 2020 was From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. 2021, People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. 2022, Booklovers by Emily Henry. And 2023, yet again, Emily Henry with Happy Place. So these are all of the quote-unquote best romances according to Goodreads readers. These are the books that Goodreads curated and people voted for. I have read 12 out of the 13 books. The only book that I have not read and I probably will never read is the Diana Gabaldon book because it's like in the middle of the Outlander series or later in the series, and I've never read Outlander. I've watched the show, I love it, but reading the actual books is not actually on my list of things to do, and also those books are huge. But I am going to be ranking these romance winners from worst to best, and I also made a little tier ranking list for these books. So in A tier are the books that actually deserve to win that year. B tier, a great book, books that I still loved. C tier is not my favorite, but I'm not surprised that I won. D tier, it was boring. And F tier, didn't read it, and you can probably guess what book I'll be putting in that tier. And I also wanted to go over the nominees of the past decade plus of the Goodreads Choice Awards, see which books got nominated, see what kind of books people are reading since 2011, because I was very much enmeshed in the whole romance book thing back in 2011. Like, that's when I discovered all of the big paranormal romance series like Black Dagger Brotherhood. So we'll see how many of the nominees that I've also read. Okay, let's just jump into it. Let's start off with 2011. The winner here was Lover Unleashed by J.R. Ward, and it's actually kind of shocking to see how many people voted back when the awards first started. We only had 30,000 votes, and spoiler alert, there were over 600,000 votes for 2023. It's kind of crazy to think about how the awards is now like 20 times as big as it was back in 2011. But anyway, here you can see all of the different books that were nominated. Paranormal romance was king back in the day. Literally half of these books, there's 20 nominees, half of them were paranormal romances, which you would never see these days. It's all contemporary right now, but yeah, we have a lot of paranormal romances, some historical romances as well. This is making me so nostalgic right now. So I have read a good majority of these books, or at least a good majority of these authors. I personally would have voted for Kiss of Snow by Nalini Singh because Nalini is my queen and Kiss of Snow is epic. It is one of my all-time favorite paranormal romances. It is so, so good. But I am super happy to see Julia Quinn here, Cresley Cole. I also loved Larissa Ione back in the day, and oh my gosh, Julie James. She was one of my first contemporary romance authors that I read. I would borrow her books from my library all the time. And of course, 50 Shades is here as well. I'm kind of surprised that it didn't win this year. Obviously, we know how big this book is, but J.R. Ward, Lover Unleashed. This was book 9 in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series, and I mean, I still loved it. I still gave it 5 stars. So I'm gonna put this one in B tier. It's still a great book. I still loved it, but it's not my personal winner of these nominees. And then for 2012, you can see 50 Shades Freed by E.L. James was a winner of this year, but you can also see through these nominations that this was a year that indie authors really went big. Like Bare to You by Sylvia Day, one of my favorite books, one of my favorite series. It started as an indie book, I believe. Like this is the original indie cover. On Dublin Street by Samantha Young also started as an indie, and it was actually my vote this year. We have Kristen Ashley, Tara Civic, Jennifer Probst, and another one of my all-time favorites, CJ Roberts. I am obsessed with The Dark Duet. It's one of the OG dark romances. So 7 out of the 20 books for 2012 were indie published, and we're still getting like a good mix of contemporary, paranormal, historical. There's Nora Roberts again with her romantic suspense. It's like a really good mix of everything this year, which can't really say happens anymore. But ranking 50 Shades Freed, I gave this 3 stars, so I'm just gonna stick it in D tier because it really was boring. And then for 2013, indies are still killing it, but J.R. Ward works harder because Lover at Last is a winner for this year. Of course, Jamie Maguire is nominated here. She was so big back in the day, but then it turned out she kind of sucked as a person. We have more Sylvia Day, and Colleen Hoover has still yet to win in the Goodreads Choice Awards. She was 4th place here with Losing Hope, which was my vote this year. And then all of these authors are throwing me back so hard, like Abby Glines. I was a sucker for her books. They were the messy, angsty noodle stuff that I just inhaled. There's K.A. Tucker, S.E. Stevens. I never actually got into her books. Beautiful Bastard by Christina Lauren. Wait for You by Jalen. Jennifer L. Armentrout was also big back in the day. Tangled, one of my favorite books. And then Nicholas Sparks. Okay, what are you doing here? I mean, I'm not surprised. Goodreads would count Nicholas Sparks as a romance author. And Katie Evans. Oh, I miss her books so much. She hasn't written in a very, very long time. Like she hasn't published anything for a long time, and I do miss her books. I loved them back in the day. But Lover at Last, I did give this 5 stars, but I will have to put this in B tier. 2014 is the one year where I did not read The Winner, which is Written in My Own Heart's Blood by Diana Gabaldon. It is book 8 in the Outlander series, and we have more Colleen Hoover. She's moved up to 2nd place this time with Maybe Someday. I will say the votes here were not all that close, like 50k for Diana Gabaldon and then 2nd place 30k. Still a pretty big gap between 1st and 2nd place. J.R. Ward is still killing it. We have another Coho book. I voted for Ugly Love, I guess. I totally forgot that I did this. I definitely would have been torn between Maybe Someday and Ugly Love. This was like my Coho era. I was still in high school and everything. I was still making everyone else in my class read Colleen Hoover. So yeah, I was a total Colleen Hoover girly. I did like Archer's Voice, some more historicals and dark romances, and oh my gosh, Transcendence by Shay Savage. That book was fantastic. Another one of my favorites. I also loved Kylie Scott back in the day. Her Rockstar Romance series had me in a chokehold. And Sweet Filthy Boy, one of my favorites from Christina Lauren. So I'm gonna put Diana Gabaldon in F tier because never read her. She's kind of out of the running for me. Moving on to 2015, and finally Colleen Hoover has won her first Goodreads Choice Awards with Confess. I gave this one 4 stars. It's not my favorite, and I personally voted for The Deal by Elle Kennedy this year. And there's also 2 Elle Kennedy books that were nominated in 2015, The Deal and Him, which, I mean, both of them were amazing. But we're still getting, you know, E.L. James, J.R. Ward, a good mix of indie and traditionally published. There's a couple paranormals, one historical romance. Sarah McLean is clinging onto there. But I feel like a majority of these authors this year are indie authors or indie hybrid authors. And in terms of ranking, I will have to put Confess in C tier. It's not my favorite of this year. It's not my favorite of Colleen Hoover's, but can't say I'm surprised that she finally won because these next few years she is still going to be dominating. 2016 was the year that It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover came out and just blew everyone's minds. I don't know why Goodreads isn't showing my rating here, but I did give it 4 stars. My vote this year though was for The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. I'm pretty sure this was a write-in too. Like Mariana mostly is a write-in author before they took that option out. But we have a lot of other good ones this year too, like The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, The Score by Elle Kennedy. I did love Beard Science by Penny Reed and Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. The book in 2nd place though I've never seen or heard of before though. It's called Storm and Silence by Robert Thier. And looking at the first review for this book, it doesn't actually seem like it's a romance, so I don't know what Goodreads was doing here. Anyway, Nora Roberts is still here. She's still going strong. J.R. Ward, Sylvia Day, and Julia Quinn as well. And then there's C.S. Pacat, who I still have not read. I've never read them. I'm not sure I ever will, but Paper Princess I have read. This is actually another Elle Kennedy book. I totally forgot. Aaron Watt is a pen name for Elle Kennedy and Jen Frederick. And yes, Paper Princess and the whole series was huge back in the day. But I'm just so happy to see Mariana on this list. I freaking loved Winnie so much. It's one of my all-time favorite books from Mariana and in general. So since I personally did not vote for It Ends With Us, I'm gonna have to put this one in B tier. It's still a very good book. Like, there's a reason why it's so big and so popular. But for me, this was not my winner. Oh, I should also rank the books within each tier. So I'll put Lover at Last first, just because I've reread this book so many times, more than the other two books for sure. Lover Unleashed and It Ends With Us are kind of the same for me, but I guess based on the fact that I gave Lover Unleashed 5 stars and It Ends With Us 4 stars, I will put Lover Unleashed second. And then for 2017, this is the final year that Colleen Hoover won in the Goodreads Choice Awards, which I'm kind of shocked by. She really hasn't won since 2017, but yeah, this year, Without Merit was the winner. Apparently I didn't vote this year, or at least my vote is not showing up on this page, but there are so many favorites this year. I don't know how I could choose. Like Devil in Spring by Lisa Kleypas. Lisa Kleypas is my queen. I also love Ilona Andrews. Mariana Zapata is back here as well. I love seeing Beverly Jenkins and Tessa Dare here. We're still going strong with the historical romances, and I'm also super happy to see Kristen Becker Ritchie get nominated with Damaged Like Us. But let me just put Without Merit in C tier. And honestly, Confess and Without Merit, I mean, they're good. Not the best Colleen Hoover books that I've read. I'll just put Without Merit a little bit higher than Confess though. Moving on to 2018, the winner this year was The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang. This book has my whole heart, but I also loved Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas, and I did vote for Birthday Girl, but I love The Kiss Quotient and Helen Hoang so much that I absolutely will be putting this in A tier because it is so deserved. Colleen Hoover was second place, Jasmine Guillory was third, and J.R. Ward is still like in the top 4. I loved so many of these books though, the ones that got nominated, like Pestilence by Laura Thalassa, From Lukov with Love by Mariana Zapata, Roomies by Christina Lauren. The Simple Wild also came out this year. That was a huge hit, but I will say we are seeing a decline in paranormal romances now. Like, they used to dominate, but it's really just J.R. Ward who's keeping it up in the Goodreads Choice Awards. I mean, Pestilence, it's also paranormal, it's fantasy romance, but we only have 2 out of the 20 books that are paranormal fantasy when it used to be 10. And same with historicals. I mean, it's never dominated like paranormals, but we still are getting a few here and there. Like, we have Lisa Kleypas and Sarah MacLean, which are arguably the biggest historical romance authors from that year. And then for 2019, Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston was this year's winner, and unfortunately I didn't love this book. It was actually not my favorite. My vote this year was for The Bride Test by Helen Hoang. This book was everything to me. It stole my heart. I loved it so much. Out of the top 5 books for 2019, the only books that I did love were The Bride Test and Things You Save in a Fire by Catherine Center, because I didn't love Red, White, and Royal Blue. Verity was so annoying, and The Unhoneymooners was my first Christina Lauren book that I did not love. This was the first year that I ever read Catherine Center, and I became so in love with her books and her writing. I will say she's more of a woman's fiction writer, so we have Catherine Center and Beth O'Leary, those two who are on the verge of romance and fiction. I did love The Kiss Thief by L.J. Shen, and I loved Sapphire Flames by Ilona Andrews. Ilona Andrews is one of my favorites when it comes to paranormal or fantasy, urban fantasy stuff, so I am happy to see them being nominated. We're back with some more Penny Reid, Mariana Zapata, and historicals Tessa Dare and Sarah MacLean. So unfortunately, I'm probably gonna make some people a little bit mad, but I have to put Red, White, and Royal Blue in D tier because it really was a boring read for me. I mean, it's still better than 50 Shades Freed. I'll give it that. And then for the 2020s, for 2020, I think this book shocked everyone when it won, but it's From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I don't know why I was so shocked that it was the winner. It felt like it came out of nowhere, even though it was a really, really big and popular book. I did give From Blood and Ash 5 stars, or like 4.5. It's up there, but I'm pretty sure I voted for Beach Read by Emily Henry. It doesn't show, but I'm like 99% sure that I voted for Beach Read. Emily Henry had me right from the start of her romance writing era. Like, she had me in a chokehold. And then we have a couple non-romances that Goodreads thinks are romances, like In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle. But we are seeing a new trend of illustrated covers, like illustrated cutesy cartoon covers for romances. I do think it started back in like 2018 with the Kiss Quotient, but it's really apparent now in 2020. Colleen Hoover did fall behind though. She is in 4th place with Regretting You, but I do think that's because Regretting You is just not one of her bigger books. I did love the Happy Ever After playlist by Abby Jimenez. Also loved Emerald Blaze by Alona Andrews, but that's because I love everything Alona Andrews. Hands Down by Marina Zapata. I mean, I love her, but hands down was not my favorite of her books. And then this is the first year where the historical romance nominee, A Rogue of One's Own by E.B. Dunmore, it's got an illustrated cover. Okay, tier ranking this though, does From Blood and Ash actually deserve that #1 spot? I mean, it was really, really good. It's still one of my favorites from JLA. I'll just put it in an A tier, even though I personally would have rather had Beach Read win, but both books really were top tier, so I'll put this in A tier, maybe above the Kiss Quotient. Okay, we're almost to the end, so we have 2021. The winner here was People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I freaking love this book, and I would have voted for it if it wasn't for The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Oh my god, do you see the number of votes between these two books? It was so close. These two books were like the biggest books of 2021, and I'm honestly still surprised that Ali didn't win, but I still loved People We Meet on Vacation. Even though I didn't vote for it, I'm still gonna say it did deserve the win just because it was so big and so good, and I think we're getting like a movie or TV show out of it. I'll put it in A tier. It's definitely my top one out of the 3 books. It was one of my favorite reads of the year. I gave it 5 stars. Casey McQuiston came out with a new book, A Sapphic Romance, One Last Stop, that everyone was feral over. And this was a year of The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas, which is also one of my favorites. And every single book cover here, except for one, is an illustrated cover or like an object cover. The odd one out is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams, which is a fantastic book. I highly recommend it. But everything else, yeah, we don't have any more hot guys on covers. But let's see. I did love Actor Age Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. I loved It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I did not like Neon Gods by Katie Robert. And I especially did not like The Road Trip by Beth O'Leary. I feel like 2021 is the first year where I'm all over the place in terms of ratings when it comes to the books that I've read out of the nominees. But whatever, I still love the top 2 books. For 2022, Emily Henry is still killing it. She is still dominating, to no one's surprise. So Booklovers was a winner this year. I gave Booklovers 4 stars. I mean, I liked it, but not as much as Beach Read or People We Meet on Vacation. My vote this year was for Twisted Hate by Anna Hoang. This was elite, enemies to lovers. Loved it so much. I also did love Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher and Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. This was the year I discovered Lucy's Score with Things We Never Got Over. Also fell in love with that. And some other standouts this year were The Bodyguard by Catherine Center and Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma. Colleen Hoover did get nominated twice this year, but the votes were pretty evenly split between Reminders of Him and It Starts With Us. But even if you did combine both of these books, like the votes, it still wouldn't have touched Booklovers. People love Emily Henry, okay? For Booklovers, I'll put this in B tier, but below It Ends With Us. And then we have the latest year for the Goodreads Choice Awards for the romance category, and of course, Emily Henry won yet again with Happy Place. I am gonna be super curious to see if she wins again in 2024. Funny Story's coming out. I have an arc of it downloaded and I am so hyped. But I mean, it would be nice to see someone else winning after like 3 years in a row. Even Colleen Hoover herself has only won 3 years for the Goodreads Choice Awards. So Happy Place. This one was actually a disappointment for me. It's my least favorite Emily Henry book so far. I did not love it as much as I wanted to. I am so sad, but I'm gonna have to stick it in D tier. I did like it more than Red, White, and Royal Blue, but it was like a 3.5 star read for me. We also have some good runners up though, like Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood, I did love. Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, another favorite of the year. Romantic comedy though, that was one of the worst books that I read last year. But my vote for 2023, my favorite out of these 20 books was The Right Move by Liz Tomford. I did actually make a video last year. I read all 20 of these nominees and I share my thoughts on them if you want to check it out. But yeah, The Right Move, spoiler alert, was my favorite. I adored everything about this one. It was the perfect sports romance. It was so good. So that would be my winner. But that's it for all of the romance winners for the Goodreads Choice Awards from 2011 to 2023. You can see my rankings here, like the best ones, People We Meet on Vacation, From Blood and Ash, and The Kiss Quotient. And then the worst ones, I mean excluding Diana Gabaldon because I didn't read it, but that would be Happy Place, Red, White, and Royal Blue, and 50 Shades Freed, which will probably upset a couple people, but it is what it is. I didn't love those books. If you've read any of these winners though, let me know your ranking, like which ones out of these 13 are your favorite, which ones are your least favorite. As always, links to all the books that I mentioned will be down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you all next time. Bye!